Every town has a ghost story that's been passed down through the generations. But what if those legends were true? My name is Miranda Young, and I'm the Ghost Biker. Hey everybody, happy Thursday night. You are watching the Ghost Biker Garage Live, and I am your host, the Ghost Biker, and I am here from the haunted and historic Scott County Jail. So just want to say hello to everyone that's tuned in here. I just can't thank you guys enough for tuning in and spending your time with me every Thursday night. I mean, it is just I'm truly honored and humbled that you guys choose to spend your time here, and especially to everyone that spent the last hour with us here on the here from the jail on the Jailhouse Informant. So just want to say hello to Sonia from down there in North Georgia. Hope everyone fared well during all those storms that we had yesterday and last night. Hello to Nancy. Mr. Daryl Paulette from the Clover Hill Village in Bedford Paranormal. Thank you guys so much for watching. Mr. Bob Burnell, hello again. Mr. Melvin Brazel, I can't wait to see you next weekend as well. It's going to be fantastic to see you and be able to catch up. Pretty crazy storms here last night, and it's there. I know that there was some. I think there was one fatality that occurred here in Tennessee, but I know we were just inundated all day yesterday and all night last night with the different storms. And if you had seen in the advertisement, one of my guests is not going to actually be able to be with us tonight. But that's kind of in part because of the storms, but everything is fine. It's just, it's been kind of a tiring night for folks. So hello to James Brady, Mr. Steve White. Thank you guys so much for tuning in here. So if you watched during the last hour, you saw that we continued our special series from here at the jail. We highlight different jails from all around the country. And tonight we have Miss Felicity Cooper from the old Charlotte County Jail there in St. Andrews, New Brunswick, Canada. We went international with that one, and we had so much fun chatting with her. She leads the ghost walks there, and she shared some amazing history coming out of New Brunswick that I had no idea about, and just the stories and history and hauntings that she was able to share from that jail. So if you missed that, you definitely want to go check that out. That's on the Historic Scott County Jail Facebook page, YouTube channel, or also on Historic Rugby After Dark. We are broadcasting live from there during the 7 o'clock hour. So you can go back and you can watch that episode as well as any of the other episodes of locations, different jails that we have highlighted from around the country. And if you have a favorite jail that we have not highlighted yet, I think we've highlighted about 20 something jails so far around the U.S. and I think we've done 4 from around the world now. So if you have a favorite jail that you would like for us to highlight on the show, it doesn't have to allow paranormal investigations or hauntings or anything like that, but we just like to share what people are doing and how they're bringing life to these old buildings. And we've had people who have Chamber of Commerce in there, some that have turned into a bed and breakfast. They're bringing new life through preservation and restoration of these old buildings, and we love to be able to share that. So again, thank you for everyone that tuned into that. And then also last week, if you watched the show last week, we had Mr. Sean Young on the show. He talked about his journey through healing and becoming a shaman and some of the interesting things that he's doing. It was actually a very, very interesting show. He's putting together a healing convention that he's going to be working with that he highlighted. If you missed that show, his stories about some of the things he experienced growing up was just I was riveted the whole time. And I know you guys asked some great questions, brought up some really interesting points. So, so hopefully go back, check that out, and check out all of our shows and some of the different things that we've got going on there. Now, so as far as things coming up, don't have a whole lot of new news, but we do have a lot of tours and some paranormal investigation dates that are open. So if you are looking to do something here during the month of May, if you're traveling down here to East Tennessee and you're going to be in the area and you're looking to do one of our ghost walks or lantern tours, we've actually got the ghost walks and lantern tours on the schedule for the entire summer. So you can go on there. We do those every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night when we don't have paranormal investigation bookings. We are pretty well sold out here at the jail for Saturday night for our flashlight tour, but we do have tours open on Friday and Sunday, and then all weekend long at the historic village of Rugby. Now, if you're interested in doing a guided ghost hunt at either here at the jail or at the village of historic Rugby, we have those calendars open as well. Those are 3-hour immersive ghost hunts where you can come and investigate with either myself or with my business partner, Dr. Christy Sumner, and we will bring our equipment. We encourage you to bring yours if you have any type of equipment or just an audio recorder and your camera. And we'll take you either through the village or through the jail here. We had the ladies from Homespun Haints here last week, as well as Lady Till's Curios. They came and they did a double night. They did 3 hours here at the jail and 3 hours at Rugby. And we had an absolute blast with them. We're going to have them on our show to talk about some of the different things that were captured. So if you're not part of a paranormal team and you're maybe a paranormal enthusiast and want to come and see if you can make contact with some of our resident spirits, we'd sure love to have you. And you can find all of that. I want to make sure to pull up. You can find all of that on historyhighwayshaunts.com, and then just pick whether you want to go to the jail or go to Rugby. So choose your own adventure. You'll end up on one of our websites there, and just look at the dates. If you have any questions at all, you can call us here at the jail at 423-663-5353, or you can reach out to us on the website. Like I said, we'd definitely love to have you. So I'm going to go ahead, speaking of really cool and fun things to do, I want to go ahead and bring on tonight's guest because we're going to be talking about something very, very cool that she and her team, as well as Vickie Norris from Reflections of the Paranormal, are going to be putting together. So if you will, please help me in welcoming Miss Chinelle from Elite Vixens to the Ghostbacker Garage. Whoops, let's see here. Why is this? There we go. Hey, Chinelle.
Hey.
Thank you so much for taking the time to come on tonight and talk about some of the cool things that you've got going on. I know you all been working real hard on a lot of really cool things.
Oh yeah, girl, we got a lot coming up. But it's an honor to be here. So I'm real glad that you invited me to be your guest.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, Vickie was not able to join us tonight, but we're going to have some fun and hold it down. And first off, before we get into the event and everything, why don't you talk a little bit about who you are and who Elite Vixen Paranormal is?
Okay. Oh, thanks. Okay, so first off, can we talk about Melvin?
Yes.
He said that I'm looking good, but he's very biased. Pops is biased, so there's that. But I love you, Melvin, and I cannot wait to see you next weekend. Miss Beth cannot wait to see you next weekend. Dustin, can't wait to see you. And of course, Miranda, can't wait to see you. It's going to be so much fun.
Absolutely. I know you've been in the paranormal scene for quite some time, and I got to meet you in person. Gosh, it's probably been what, 2, 3? It was when the pandemic was going on. I think it was when I finally met you in person there in was that 2020 when they had the first annual
2020.
Yeah, there at the Old Stone Jail. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when we got to meet the first time. And then, of course, I've been out to your awesome location.
Well,
love the jail. Been out there twice. Can't wait to go back.
Yeah, y'all had some pretty cool things happen.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, both times that I was out there, it was really awesome. And we all had just such a great time.
Oh,
the first time I was there was Vickie. And then, of course, last year,
Yeah.
and my team came out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I am, of course, Chinelle. I'm one of the co-founders of the team. Samantha and I started it back in 2018. And we've been going strong almost 6 years now. And
Nice.
yeah, we have, of course, our event. Yep, there's our Facebook page. Whole bunch of beautiful women. We're all so pretty.
And very talented investigators too. I've got to add that. I mean, you guys put out some great videos, and just watching some of your techniques and stuff when you investigate, you top-notch investigators.
Yeah, we really we have a lot of fun on our investigations, and it's like, who was it? Somebody had described us one time that we flip a switch when it's time to, we have all the fun, and then when it's time to investigate, it's boom, we're investigating. And thank you, Dustin. You're super sweet too. So, and I think you're a little biased, Mr. Dustin, but yeah, we love to, when we get together, it's always a great time. And like I said, as soon as we get to investigating, it's like we're, all hands on deck, super serious, let's do this thing. Thank you, Chris. I love all the compliments. Thank you.
Oh, like I said, that's the thing about this show is there's so many great people. They tune in, they ask such amazing questions, and I love the interaction.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Chris, next weekend is going to be so much fun. Do you want me to talk about that now, Miranda? Or?
Sure.
Okay. So of course, next weekend, we're hosting with Reflections of the Paranormal. Oh my gosh, it's going to be so much fun. So many great people are going to be at this event. So it's our Paranormal Places Meet and Greet. We have, of course, Miranda, you're going to be there. Dr. Chris Sumner is going to be there, representing Scott County Jail and Historic Rugby After Dark.
Yes.
And then we have representatives from Octagon Hall are going to be there. Miss Beth Allen, she's going to be there doing some tarot readings. Mr. Melvin's going to be there. Pops. We also have representatives from Tennessee Paranormal that are going to be there to discuss their locations, and then representatives from OSPH and as well as Old Harriman Hospital. So it's gonna be such a great time. It's gonna be epic. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that it's gonna be epic.
I think so.
Yeah, we have so many amazing people that are gonna be there. Not just y'all, who we appreciate y'all coming and being willing to talk about your locations and hang out. There's gonna be some vendors there. And then we're all going to have fun investigating afterwards, both locations, the Simpson County Historical Society and the Old Stone Jail. Crystal, you can still come. So we did sell out of our VIP tickets. That's the investigation tickets. But our meet and greet tickets, those are unlimited. So, yeah.
And so the meet and greet, what is 3:30 to 7 Central?
I think it's 3:30 to 7 is what we're doing it. They said that's going to give everybody time to, hang out, get to know the vendors, the other paranormal teams, meet people such as yourself. And of course, we have our wonderful speakers, and it's going to be so much fun. I'm so excited.
So when people come, is it one of those things that they need to kind of plan the whole time? Because you're going to have speakers going throughout the whole time too, correct?
Yeah, so the speakers are actually starting at I think it's 5 o'clock or 5:30. My actual book that's in the car, I didn't think to grab that has the schedule in it. But yeah, it's 5 or 5:30. We're going to have y'all start talking and about your locations and promoting those. And we're thankful to be able to give y'all the opportunity to talk about your amazing locations, places that we all have been, but other people might not have had the opportunity to investigate these locations. And they're all just wonderful places to go. I love the jails. Jails are I don't know what it is about it, because I spend my normal life trying to stay out of them, but my paranormal life, I want to be in them. So it's just something about jails and the energy at the jails.
Well, there's going to be 3 jails there, I guess.
Yeah,
Us, and
3.
then Old Stone Jail, and then what is the other one called? It's the one
The
in Lynchburg, correct?
Mhm. Yeah, the old
Yeah,
Morton jail.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
we were just there Friday night, actually.
oh, nice, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just something about an old jail, and I mean they're
Mhm.
even so much different than like the penitentiaries and big prisons too. I think every
Yeah.
place has its own special way of investigating and stories to tell. But I'm like you, I love an old jail.
Yeah, same. It's like the energy and and especially like you said, like I like the smaller ones. I
Yeah,
don't know if maybe it's like more intimate or something with like the spirits because not as many people go through those like the big penitentiaries.
yeah.
But you still get every kind of crime,
You
go
do.
through
You
these small
still get,
jails.
and that's what a lot of people don't always realize when they come in here. They think they're going to be dealing with petty crimes and that sort of thing. And it's like, no, we for certain periods of time we housed murderers, and
Hmm.
we housed very violent offenders. In some instances, now some of them we only had just a couple that served out very long sentences here, and that was just kind of an unusual thing. But the rest of them, it's like if they committed a violent crime, they were in here until they had their court date set, and
Hmm.
until they were sent on to Brushy Mountain or sent on to somewhere
Hmm.
else. So it runs the gamut in some of these places, and they the inmates, they always seem to have a story to tell.
Oh yeah, they for sure do. And I love it when you get like the corroborating evidence of their stories, like going into a jail blind and
Hmm.
then like the corroborating evidence that you can get through like a spirit box session or EVP session. And then you go and you do like historical research and it's like, boom, here's this article. And it's like, oh my gosh, like that is just, oh, it's, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. Like just having that experience, it's so freaking cool. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know, because one of my favorite ones, of course, I don't know that you can actually investigate it anymore, but I love the old jail down there in Kosciuszko, there in
Hmm.
Mississippi. I know that you all investigated that one as well, and
Yeah.
it seemed like it was kind of on the scene for a while, and then due to different reasons, I don't
Mhm.
know if they investigate it much anymore, but that was a neat place.
It was, yeah, we went there back in, oh my gosh, it's been I think 2019 was when we were there.
Hmm.
That was a really cool location also. We went in like the winter time, so it was kind of cold and everything, but such a cool location. We got a lot of interactions in like the back like men's cells.
Yes.
Um, yeah, really cool.
Real intelligent
Yeah.
responses as
Hmm.
well from there. Thank you, Beth. Thank you for your kind compliments there. You've definitely got to get down here and check out our locations here. Um, but yeah, I really like what you guys are doing with this event, because it is different and it is fresh in comparison.
Hmm.
There's a lot of paracons and a lot of stuff out there, but I love how with this it is a paranormal places meet and greet. It
Hmm.
it really does put the focus on these locations that people are working really hard to through paranormal tourism to keep open to the public. And I think that that's great
Yeah.
what you all are doing to bring attention to this, and also to bring the community together to, essentially create this event for that. I think that that's really fresh and really cool.
Yeah, and like I said, we just love the fact that everybody, when we were reaching out, because we had, our potential speakers, and everybody was like, "Yes, like absolutely." But like I said, we just appreciate y'all so much for taking the time out, because for you and for, oh, I hit a button. Sorry.
No, you're
for
fine.
for you and for Dr. Chris, like that's a hey Jack, that's a haul for her coming all the way from Florida, up to Kentucky, and even for you, that's like a couple hours. So y'all are just
Yeah.
taking your time to join it, and it's just gonna be awesome. We appreciate
Yeah.
y'all so much.
Oh, absolutely. So, so as far as vendors, can you talk a little bit about some of the vendors that you're going to have there on
Yeah.
Saturday night?
Yeah. So of course, all of us, all the speakers, I think, are going to have tables.
Mhm.
We're going to have a table. Vickie's going to have one. And then we have 2 tarot readers. One of them is actually Miss Beth Allen. She's one of our tarot readers. And then we have representatives coming from other paranormal teams. Memphis Ghost Hunters is going to be there. They also have a location in Tennessee. That's their,
Nice.
yep, Old Raleigh Cemetery out there in Memphis. So they're going to be there representing that. Oh, I can't, like I said, I didn't think to get my book. That would have been smart of me. But yeah,
I'm not going to put you on the spot.
okay, cool. Thanks. Yeah, but we do have definitely a variety of people that are coming. There's going to be lots of different people to meet, not just, us and y'all, and it's going to be fun.
And I like that because just within the Kentucky area where the Old Stone Jail and Octagon Hall is located to, all the way down in Middle Tennessee where you're at, and then us over here in East Tennessee. And we can't forget about our friends over there in Memphis, which is quite a haul too.
Yeah.
So it's like there are a lot of locations concentrated in a very close area, which I think we're really blessed about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's all within like a local drive. You know what I mean? And so when I say local, I mean like less than 4 hours from Middle Tennessee. And there really are just so many locations within that radius. First off, that's awesome because that shows like just how dedicated Tennessee is to preserving the history.
Yeah.
And then of course, then there's the people that are like restoring these locations, or the directors that are doing the upkeep and all the things. And the history preservation, that's one of the best things that I actually love about all of this. And the fact that we can investigate, which just helps, like you said before, to just keep it restored and keep it going.
Yeah, and I mean that's some of these places. I mean that's really what keeps the doors open at some of these places. Is if we were relying on the daytime tours, we would be in trouble if we were relying strictly 100% just on daytime history tours. Now there's so much history here that people don't all know about, that if they came in, usually once people come in the door, they're in here for almost an hour doing the audio tour and going through. But it's those paranormal investigators that truly allow us to be able to keep the lights on and to be able to do what we do. Even historic rugby, they've been around since as far as the historic Rugby Inc. and the restoration there, they've been around since the 70s. But taking on the after dark tourism is something that's really helped, because locations and stuff like that are just they're really struggling right now, especially with tourism kind of starting to uptick and stuff. So we appreciate our investigators, and we appreciate when people do events such as this just to help get the word out about what we're trying to do.
Yeah, for sure. And that's one thing, like, so as a team, we focus really on, established like haunted locations. We don't really do residentials for a myriad of reasons, which I've talked extensively about.
Yeah.
But part of the reason why we focus on established locations like this is also to assist with the history, or to assist with, the restoration and all of that stuff. Plus, a lot of them have, like, your jail have a lot of like interesting history as well. So, it just leads to the calls, essentially.
Absolutely.
And of course, ghosts.
Absolutely. And so it looks like we got a question here. And I just want to remind you guys, if anyone has a question for Chinelle tonight or for myself, please put them in all caps over here, just so that I make sure that I know we got a lot of conversation going on, and I want to make sure I don't miss anyone here as we're going through. But Chris asks, what started your journey into the paranormal, Chinelle?
So that's okay. So my house, so originally I'm from Pennsylvania. I actually grew up in York, Pennsylvania, and my house up there, my dad still lives in it. our family's only the second family to own it. And it was built sometime in between 1850 and 1870. We're not exactly sure because records weren't kept so good there, you know. But so in around there, and like I said, my family, we acquired it sometime in like the late 1800s, I believe. And so my entire life, I actually grew up experiencing paranormal activity, but didn't really know what it was. Hey, Leanne. It wasn't until I was about 17, and that's when ghost hunting shows were like in their infancy. So I'm kind of aging myself here. And I started like watching them, and then I started realizing like some of the things that they were explaining on the shows. I was like, wait a minute, like, and just drew like correlations, like, well, that's happening here. And so I had finally just went to my dad, and I was like, hey, Dad, is our house haunted? And you know, my dad's response was, I'm going to tell you the same thing that my mother told me when I was young. You know, you leave them alone, they'll leave you alone. And I was like, oh my God. And like kind of freaked out, not going to lie. Like I was young, you know, but that really started my journey, because then I started just doing the research, like, you know, reading online and like how to investigate, watching the TV shows just to kind of learn how to do it. I started going on little ghost walks, you know. My whole life I've always kind of been just drawn, not just to like spirits, you know, because like I said, growing up in a house, but like just Halloween and, you know, all of the spooky stuff in general. Used to love going to like haunted attractions. And my dad and I actually started taking me when I was young, like 7, 8 years old, right?
Nice.
Yeah. So that's just kind of how I got started, like going on ghost walks. One of the first ghost walks I went on was in Gettysburg, because being in York County.
So,
Yeah.
Next
county over, you know. So I've been at Eastern State Penitentiary. That's really when I got started. But I wasn't able to actually become like a field investigator really until 2018. I had to go through some life, had to move to Tennessee, had to live some life in Tennessee. And it wasn't until after my divorce in 2018 that I was actually able to really get into the field. But my very good friend, my best male friend, Brendan, he, like for years we worked together. And, you know, he knew that I had an interest. And for years he was like, come on, I'm going on this investigation. Come with me. And I was like, I can't, my babies, etc. So yeah, in 2018, after my divorce, I was able to actually break into the field. So been doing it ever since.
Nice. Well, we're glad you're here. And, you know, I mean, that's, you know, that's one of those things. I mean, a lot of people, life just kind of leads them in that direction. You know, a lot of the people we talk to have either had experiences from when they were kids or always had an interest in it. But it's just kind of like life takes them in that turn to where the opportunity comes up. And I think that's important, especially with the paranormal, is not rushing it and, you know, getting into it at the right time.
Well, and I think that, so myself, like I consider myself to have a calling to this field.
Okay.
And like you said, like the timing just had to be right. Cause if you like have a calling, like you're going to get into it at the right time. And, I also think like once you enter the field, you never really truly leave it. I believe that like once you're open to it, you're open to it. And, you know, like my stepdaughter, she's on my team. And so she was like at our very first Vixen meeting, but was not a Vixen, you know. She's just kind of been along because, and you actually met her, remember last year?
I did. Yeah.
And so, but she wasn't like, she would be like, you know, she calls me Nellie and she's like, Nellie, I want to join the team. Like, I want to be a Vixen. I'm like, not till you're grown, you know, not until you're 18. And, you know, and then like she and I literally had like a conversation and it was like, okay, well, if you're going to do this, like you need to make sure that you want to do this. And, you know, so like even my kids, you know, my younger ones, like they have an interest in it. It's like, no. Nope. I really try my best to limit their exposure because I feel like it's a lifelong decision. Yeah. And, people sometimes get hurt in this field, bad things can happen. So I want them to be able to make a clear, conscious decision, and just like we did with Abigail.
Yeah, and I think that's great because sometimes, and that's why we're really strict about the age limit of people coming in. And I mean, I know people do paranormal 101s and they'll do youth hunts and all that, and that's fine if that's the decision between the parent. Me as a location owner, I'm not going to be responsible for somebody coming in and experiencing something, because we had it was kind of eye-opening for me, because so whenever we do when we do our flashlight tours and stuff, we have an age limit of 8 on that, and that's because we're in a jail, we're talking about some sensitive topics, and we had some come in, and we always give people a K2 meter to carry when we're giving the tours, and see see what happens. And I know there was 2 kids on the tour, a little girl and a little boy. It was a whole family. They pretty much bought out all the tickets for the tour. And one of the guys used to be a deputy here. And so when they got up into the women's cell area, I saw these K2s do things that I have never seen them do with an adult, or even with myself anywhere. I have never seen a K2 light up slowly. I've only ever seen them. It's like, because you've got the color band. And so it's like, it might light up 2 colors of green, or it may light up to red. But when it does, it typically fans out real quick. It's just, and you can hear it. And with this little girl was holding these K2s, asking yes and no questions. And it was like a slow fan.
That's real cool.
It was so cool, but it was creepy because once we found out the cell that she was in was kind of people who'd been in there against crimes, against, sex crimes and stuff like that. It was kind of like, and they were telling the little girl, they were answering yes and no questions because she had a K2 in each hand. And once her dad informed me that cell had been used for other things than a women's cell, it was like, I've never seen K2 do that before. And it was really, I mean, I still get chills today thinking of how responsive they were. And so I just don't want to be responsible for a kid experiencing something before they're ready. And I think that's really cool that you've made that decision to do that with your kids.
Yeah. I've taken them on, we went and did the Lynchburg ghost walk, and that was not last year, but the year before. I took them on that because they wanted to go do something with ghosts. And I was like, you know what? We could do Lynchburg. So they thought it was so cool. Like, and I'm sitting there, I got my phone and everything. And so my K2 would hit. It's like, oh, mommy, it's lighting up. It's a ghost. And I'm over here with my cell phone, like, oh, yeah, it's a ghost. But just to give them a little bit of a thrill. But because that's about as deep as we're getting around here for right now. And I understand, when you have an 8-year-old, I mean, she could have been, used as a little vector or something. That's cool though that it went real slow.
I have never seen it do that, and every single time. And I first thought, because I even picked it up and I was like, is there a way to because she was not holding the buttons or anything. I thought, is there a way to just as controlled? It was like something just took and just fanned out and then fanned off. It was pretty incredible. And that's the only time I've ever seen a K2 do that. And that's the only time I've ever seen it do that here in the jail, which you could say, she had a familial connection because she had law enforcement and stuff that had worked in there as well. And then just kids are incredible magnets, especially around that age. Yeah, as far as activity. So, so let's see here. Okay, so look at the comments. Chris says, how did EVP get started?
Well, okay. So I had mentioned my best friend earlier, my best male friend. And so me and Samantha actually, and Kayla in the beginning had joined his team.
Okay.
And we had went to a location and before then, things were kind of not really going too well to be honest. And we went up to a location up in Kentucky, and that investigation honestly put the nail in the coffin for that. And so like Sam had come to me and she's like, hey, like what if we started our own all-female team?
Mhm.
And I was really on the fence until that night. And so then we had decided, or we were contemplating joining our own team. And then Kayla's husband now, but back then just her boyfriend, he had went to Brendan and was like, hey, like, I think that the girls should do their own thing, kind of like talking to him about it. And Brendan was like, oh yeah, you know, because at that point in time, there was other things going on also. And so we just kind of broke away to form our own team. And we learned that, and of course, it's been our experience, but now I will say that things have gotten a lot better, even in the last 5 years with this. But even back in 2018, 2019, when we first started, like, it's very much a boys' club.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've experienced that. I'm sure,
Mhm.
you know, Chris has experienced that. It was very much a boys' club. And so that's we decided when we joined EVP or created EVP back then, that one of the things we were going to do is, oh, it's Ellie, is,
She has to
you
make
know,
her
really,
appearance.
she does, of course. But you know, advocating for women
Yeah.
to be treated as equals in this field, advocating for us. And like, we even sometimes still run into it where, you know, like other people will still just want to, you know, communicate with men in different scenarios. That's a child ghost. Look, she's back there laughing at me. You had a cat, I had a kid.
Yes. They want to cross at the same time. It's like cue the child,
Yeah.
cue the cat.
Well, she
Silly.
might have been drawn to the cat.
Maybe.
I think that if she'd see it, she'd be over here and all over it. But yeah, I mean, you know, that's one of the things that we stand for, is just, you know, advocating for women, because we all, like, we need, you know, we stick together and
Mhm.
we all support one another. And that's one thing that we also have found in this field, is that, like, the women, we do literally stick together, and we're like
Yeah.
a tribe. And it was a couple months ago, I was at a Paracon and I was on a panel, and I got asked about like cattiness essentially in the field. And I was like,
Mm.
I've never experienced that from the women. I have experienced it from men in the field, legit. But honestly, I've never had that with the women. You know, I think we're all just close knit, and we support and uplift one another. And
Yeah, I
um,
mean, you all, and that's a couple things about you guys. I know you have worked really hard to put together a good team, and that's something that is a challenge, because if you don't have a good team and you're going into these situations and stuff, you can put yourself in some pretty interesting
mhm,
situations with the paranormal. And so if you're not surrounded by the right people, it can cause, you know, the energy to change and be different. And so you've done a great job of putting EVP together, and you all have always been being a female in the team, being a solo investigator, and being a female-owned business with Chris. And I know Chris's team is all female as well. You guys
mhm,
have been nothing but supportive to us,
mhm,
and then
yeah,
to female teams in the field. That's something that I've always seen, you know, out of you
mhm.
guys. And it's very much appreciated, because I don't know if it's a Southern thing or if it's, you know, just a female thing in this area, but you're 100% on that. You know, I
Mhm,
don't think I've ever experienced cattiness out of females,
mm-mm.
at
No,
least
we've
personally.
been, yeah, energy and yeah, Melvin's right. Energy and experience makes the team strong.
Absolutely. And we've got some really good comments over here.
Mhm,
I totally agree about this. You know, Crystal, women and children are most spirits' favorite way to communicate. And do you notice that to be a difference, being a member of a mixed gender team and then now being a member of a female team? Do you find that the communication is different, or at least the
oh,
investigation?
yeah, it's definitely different. women, being a female, especially being in jails, we get some interesting responses. Um, Definitely. I mean, I know I've been name called. I'm sure you have too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Children spirits are absolutely drawn to us. I actually brought a child home a couple years ago, um, accidentally, and he was around for just a few days, and then I was like, realized he was there. I said, "Baby, you got to go back to where you came from." Um, you know, but I appreciated the fact that he felt comfortable enough with me to ride the 3 hours back home with me and then hang out for a week. Um, I just feel like that as women, like, we're softer,
Yeah.
we bring that feminine energy, and that makes us more approachable.
Mm-hmm.
I also feel like, sometimes that, culture from back in the day does present
Yeah.
itself.
Mm-hmm.
Women were not allowed, to be in like the men's cells, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
Their female correctional officers weren't a thing.
Yeah.
And so when you have women in there, I feel like the spirits definitely take advantage.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, culture kind of plays the key from way back in the day. But yeah, I think that like our tenderness and the fact that we're just, we're nurturers and things like that. Like I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that's why spirits are really drawn and a lot of times more comfortable with us. You
Yeah.
know, it's not often that female investigators are going to go in there and heavily provoke or anything like that. We're going to
Right.
come in and we're going to be like, I'm just here to talk to you. I just
Mm-hmm.
want to learn things about you. Things like that. I think our approach is just softer.
Yeah, and especially because I know Chris can kind of attest to this. Us Tennessee gals, we do like to talk, and
Hmm.
don't know a stranger, so
Nope.
spirits kind of seem to be the same way, and so I can go in
Hmm.
and talk to the dead all day, much
Oh
better than
yeah.
I can talk to the living. But you kind of touched on it a little bit earlier about the differences in
Mhm.
residential and commercial. Did you all used to do residential at all, or have you always been commercial?
For the most part, we've always been commercial, and so like when I say that we don't do residentials, we don't really go into residential houses.
Yeah.
So side note, most people that are familiar with me know this. So my day job, I'm a social worker.
Mhm.
Um, sorry, I'm laughing at Chris's comment.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But so like my day job, I'm a social worker. And so when I get residential cases, I don't just ignore them, things
Yeah.
like that. And I think that a lot of people, when they hear that we don't do residentials, think that we just blow it off. It's not that at all. Actually, as a social worker, I can't ignore it. Um, so I do like look at any evidence that they have. I do talk to them and things like that. But because we also do things scientifically,
Yeah.
more often than not, there's a psychological thing going on. There's either
Yeah.
recent trauma, there's untreated mental diagnoses, things like that. And so I will take a look at their evidence. But when I hear about all that, it's like, well, okay, go ahead and I'll provide them resources. The last
Mhm.
residential that I did that was on my own team, because I also do like psychological consults for other teams
Okay.
personally.
Mhm.
Um, so like I had one that they had like a 2-year-old, I think it was, and they were worried about, there being some kind of, activity going on. I looked at it, and before I even, um, like, I knew, I was like, this child appears to have like an autism diagnosis. And so
Mm.
then when I went and I talked to the dad, that was the first question I asked. It was like, do they have a diagnosis of autism? And he's like, well, yeah, we just got that. And I was like, okay. We
Okay.
we did have a blast, Crystal, and I can't wait to see you in July. Yeah, thank you. We are huggers. Yes, absolutely, pops. But yeah, so when I talked to this gentleman, like I was like, look, looking at your videos, honestly, I could tell immediately his diagnosis. And I provided him resources for Tennessee early intervention and
Mhm.
ABA therapy. And
Nice.
what I told him, I was like, if you still have activity or if he still is, having some things going on with, after a couple months, then contact me back and we'll go from there. And that's always what I tell them. Go get treatment, give it 3 months, because sometimes you have to do some medication changes and therapy and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
After 3 months, if you still have activity, contact me back. So, it's for us. I mean, we've had some situations with residentials. Like I've had more than once been contacted and be like, oh, well, we just want you to come, or just one investigator. No, we don't do that. It's a safety issue.
Mm-hmm.
It's a liability issue.
Yes.
Also. And like for me, because I have like credentialing and licensing behind it, it could be a lawsuit for me. So there's, we got to protect ourselves, not only from the spiritual world, but also from the living. And we actually have to protect ourselves more from the living.
Yes.
So that's why we don't go into people's houses. Typically, there's only been ever one case where I was like, okay, and it kind of piqued my interest, but all the rest I've been like, you go get some treatment and come back to me.
Yeah, no, that's the same philosophy that I have. We did some residentials when I used to be part of a team, but it was a mixed gender team. And so there was some, but we always typically knew the people, or there was some type of connection. And these were homes in like the Chattanooga area, North Georgia area. So you had a lot that were there on battlefields or that were near areas there. But as far as the other ones, and as far as being a solo investigator, unless I know the person really, really, really well, I don't do it, because it is a safety issue. And and I will not ever highlight one of the residentials on my show, which is what I get sometimes too. People want me to highlight it on Ghost Biker, and it's like, no, because there's a different reason that you've contacted. But I think that's wonderful. Like I said, just kind of looking over here in the comments, we are getting close to the top of the hour here. So if anyone has any questions for Chinelle about Elite Vixen or about the upcoming event, the Paranormal Places Meet and Greet, please be sure to get those in here in the next few minutes. Let's see. Ronnie says 95% of private cases are people looking for attention. That is a lot of the cases. And Crystal says that's a trap. I'm a solo investigator and had a few reach out and ask that only I come. Yeah, that's, it's like, do you think we're stupid?
Right. And like, it's very condescending when, they're like, oh, I just want you. No, I'm going to bring a friend. I'm going to bring a friend. Like, I'm as old as I am. We're going to go with 29. I'm not going anywhere. I am not going anywhere near your space alone.
Yeah. I've had several people, and I may do a panel on that, because I know there are some people that do strictly residentials, and you know what, that's completely fine. And I may do a panel on that at some point, because there's some great points about it and things that people don't think, because you think, oh, free investigation, go in, interesting story, go in there. But you're that lifeline for that person, and they're not a one and done type thing, And I've heard, I had somebody on that was out of Seattle, and they were talking about a residential that they did, and they got into that house, and there was blood, dried blood all over it was a very odd situation, and some very bad things had happened, prior to them getting there. And so it's like, you just never know what you're walking into. No,
you don't. And then like, also, even like when you go into people's homes, like you're absorbing their energy. My energy is already a mess. Like, I don't need other people's messy energy. I deal enough with that in my day job.
Well, I will say, I do think they're interesting, some of them. I think that a true residential investigator, it gives them a real good opportunity to, flex their creative muscle, to talk to these people and try to determine if there's true activity, if it is something that could potentially be a, mental type situation, or, if they truly have activity. It is an opportunity to be really creative. But like Rochelle says, there's a lot of environmental factors that influence people inside their own homes. And, I don't care how many questionnaires and stuff you send out, people don't tell you everything.
No.
And, once you get in there, you don't want to find yourself in a really bad situation. I say
Yeah.
only do people that you really, truly know. And then you have to wonder, how well do you truly know them? But like I said, just going through here, seeing if there's any last minute questions. I totally agree with you, Bob. Ghosts don't scare me. It's definitely the living, that and drivers when I'm on my motorcycle. Those are the ones that truly scare me. So let's go ahead, as we're getting up here to the top of the hour, promote your team, and then we'll end the show talking just a little bit more about the event that's coming up here on May 18th.
Right. So my team is Elite Vixen Paranormal. If you want to find us, you Google us. We're going to pop up. We have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. It's just Elite Vixen Paranormal. Yep. Real easy. You can find us wherever just by searching that. And then, of course, our paranormal meet and greet is next Saturday, the 18th. It starts from 3:30, 3:30, like 7 or 7:30. I think it's 7. We're gonna have us a great time. We got lots of great vendors. Yep, Paranormal Places Meet and Greet. It is hosted by both us, Elite Vixen Paranormal, and Reflections of the Paranormal. So lots of wonderful people are going to be there. Amazing people there, such as Miranda. They're going to be promoting their locations as well as vendors. And then, of course, we sold out of our VIP tickets, so that includes the investigation afterwards.
It's a good problem to have.
It is a good problem to have. We're going to have, that investigation is going to be lit. We're having so much fun.
And we've got all these links here in the show notes as well, but we're trying to throw them up here in the comments. So that way, if you are scrolling through, you can go in and you can pull those up. But the link tree there, this is really cool. It's got where you can purchase tickets. It's also got links to Reflections of the Paranormal, Elite Vixen Paranormal, and then also the contact information. So, guys, go on there and check that out. And you might just find you some pretty cool places that either maybe you've not visited before or that you've maybe not heard about, and meet some cool vendors there that you may have not heard of before. So it's definitely worth coming and checking it out.
Yeah, it's going to be so much fun. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to see all friendly faces and then people that I haven't met before. I'm looking forward to that too, because it's always good to network, and that's one thing when it comes to people that are trying to break into the field. They're like, how do I do this? The number one way you can do it is to go to events like this, go to public events, do ghost, walks, do tours what y'all offer. That's the number one way to break into the field, because you're going to learn. That's the opportunity to meet a whole bunch of people, really like-minded people.
And learn. I mean, that's probably been my favorite thing about all this with owning a location is meeting all the different people and seeing their different ways of investigating. I mean, that's just, that's priceless, and it really opens your eyes.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I real quick? I got to call out Samantha. There's my partner.
Absolutely. I just saw her here. There we are. Yeah.
Yep. That's my partner. My love, my wifey.
Nice.
A lot of people think she's my actual wife. We are married in paranormal.
Which is pretty common. That's pretty common.
Married in paranormal. Yep.
Yep.
So that's my wifey.
So, guys, definitely go on, check out Elite Vixen Paranormal. And like I said, you can just Google them. You will find all their stuff. Come and see us at the Paranormal Places Meet and Greet. And then also check out Vickie Norris with Reflections of the Paranormal. She was on my show earlier this year. We talked about some really cool stuff. And people can follow, like they can watch, you put a lot of your evidence and stuff out there too, and some fun TikToks and stuff. So,
Yeah.
So if people want to do that, they definitely, if they're looking for content, they need to definitely go and check out your stuff as well.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right, everyone. And like I said, we're going to be there. We will be closed here at the jail on that Saturday because we do have a little bit of a drive to get there. So, so that will be Saturday, May 18th. We will be closed that day. But otherwise, we have got tours coming up. I know Memorial Day is kind of starting to book up here. We do have a few Fridays, Saturdays, or Thursdays through Sundays open for investigations. Just look at our calendar. We've got the calendar open through the end of the year. So if you want to get in on investigations either at the jail or at Historic Rugby, you can definitely go and check that out because we do still have some dates open for the remainder of the year there. And like I said, if you have any questions at all, you can reach out to me on the Ghost Biker page, or you can also reach out on the Historic Scott County Jail or Historic Rugby After Dark. So, thank you, Chinelle. This has been so much fun. I've enjoyed chatting with you.
Thank you so much for having me on. I can't wait to see you next week.
Yeah, looking forward to it. And thank you, Samantha. That's awesome. And yeah, if nobody comes for anything else, they've got to come because of Sally, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone, thank you in the chat room for your questions, your comments, and for spending your time with us tonight. And we will definitely see you next Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, and then also at 7 p.m. Eastern on the Jailhouse Informant podcast. So if we don't see you on one of our tours before, we definitely hope to see you then. So have a good night, everyone.